you're trying to actually solve one of the greatest problems that we have in Ethiopia.
We are working on the education crisis in Ethiopia and hoping to scale throughout Africa in the coming years. Basically, Ethiopian Khan Academy.
National exam crisis.
Millions of students struggling to read by grade 4, and a young founder with a digital dream.
Can an Ethiopian Khan Academy be the solution? This is Kirubel, founder of Globedock Academy.
On the AGI Podcast.
There's this report by the World Bank about 10 million grade 4 students can't read or do basic maths. The education problem really starts at a really young age.
Your background is even not in education. What is the one factor that pushed you to actually engage in this problem?
I studied in one of the best schools that we have in Ethiopia, St. Joseph School. And one of the best things we have is our teachers. Our teachers are so educated. They are so motivated. When I was in high school and also in college, I used to learn from many online platforms. And I always dreamed about how can we make this kind of platforms for our own country with our own national curriculum and with our own language.
We have challenge of infrastructure. How do you reach the people in the countrysides of Ethiopia?
More than 85% of our population, as you know, is outside of the cities. And one of the solutions that we are working on, our platform is offline first.
Right.
That means students, when they go into our platform, they would be able to download our contents with a very small internet or data cost, and they would be able to access it on their mobile phone without no internet.
At what stage do you think you'll be satisfied? Kirubel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Abrash.
Yeah, young people, bringing them on the podcast, talking about entrepreneurship, innovation, technology is becoming one of my favorite pastimes. So I'm really honored to have you on the podcast today because you're trying to actually solve one of the greatest problems that we have in Ethiopia. It's better for you to tell us instead of me blabbering, talking about it, but not actually hitting a point. So what do you do?
Thank you for having me, Abrash. I am an edtech founder. We are working on the education crisis in Ethiopia and hoping to scale throughout Africa in the coming years. As you know, our country is going through a very tough time, especially in our education space. The past years, I'm sure you have read about how many students are failing the national exam on their grade 12. And this is a huge problem. This actually starts at the foundational age, starting from the pre-primary and primary. Many students are not getting their education properly. There's this report by the World Bank about 10 million grade 4 students can't read or do basic maths by grade 4. This shows that the education problem really starts at a really young age. And our startup, Globedock Academy, is working right now at a high school stage from grade 7 to grade 12. We digitalized the whole national curriculum of the Ethiopian curriculum into digital lessons. Basically, Ethiopian Khan Academy, if you know Khan Academy from the US, there is this digital learning platform that millions of students are using it throughout the world. But when it comes to Ethiopia, we don't have a very strong education learning digital solutions. And that's why we started the Globedock Academy about 3 years ago now. We started because we believe that we can teach our students digitally and we can make digital education accessible to Ethiopian students across the country. So that's how we started Globedock Academy.
Amazing. I mean, talking about education, I feel like we have the problem as a country, and this problem didn't start yesterday. This has been happening for a very long time. And I see you're young, maybe 27 or 28. I mean, in my thinking, it is not usually something that you have to be concerned about, but I don't mean that young people don't have to engage in addressing problems of their own country, but what made you think of this? I mean, your background is even not in education. I think it's around computer science or IT. So what is the one factor, the one thing that pushed you to actually engage in this problem and trying to address it?
The biggest reason why I decided that I have to embark on this big problem is because I studied in one of the best schools that we have in Ethiopia, St. Joseph School. And when we learn in St. Joseph School, one of the best things we have is our teachers. Our teachers are so educated, they are so motivated, and the way that they teach us is really amazing. And I'm sure you've heard about so many successful students that came out of St. Joseph, and we can attribute this to our teachers. So when I was in high school and also in college, I used to learn from many online platforms. And I always dreamed about how can we make this kind of platforms for our own country with our own national curriculum and with our own language. Because as you can see, we have so many platforms that we use on our phones, especially our use. There is TikTok. There are so many platforms for politics and other issues. But when it comes to education, we didn't have a very strong platform that thousands of students can use it to learn very important things like maths, biology, chemistry, physics, economics, geography. These are the foundation of learning when we go to higher education, and also above, that are very important that we lay our foundations on. So because of this, I always have the dream of making this kind of platform accessible to the Ethiopian youth. And that's how we embarked it, and it has been a very successful journey up to now.
I mean, we have challenged. It's an online platform, and you're dreaming of reaching people across the country. We have challenge of infrastructure. How do you reach our people in the countrysides of Ethiopia, and what are the thinkings that behind addressing this problem for the people that are living in that part of the country?
More than 85% of our population, as you know, is outside of the cities, right?
Yeah.
And the solutions that we create cannot be only bounded to the capital city and also the other towns that we have. And one of the solutions that we are working on, first of all, our platform is offline first.
All right.
That means students, when they go into our platform, they would be able to download our contents with a very small internet or data cost, and they would be able to access it on their mobile phone without no internet. So we have made it an offline first because our distribution cost, which is basically internet, is very important for this kind of solutions. Not only internet, actually a device. You need to have a phone or a tablet or a computer. But for the past 5 years, I'm sure you have seen that our cost of data has tremendously gone down. Recently, we have seen some spikes that's going up. But considering that the device access is growing and the internet cost is also being affordable for the masses, this kind of digital solutions is one of the best ways that we can have, that we can scale quality education nationally. Because training teachers, building infrastructures, building the equipments, the libraries, is extremely costly. And our population will not stop and wait for us. Our population is growing. It's estimated to double by 2050, right? So with all this numbers growing, we need to be able to use our digital solutions to scale nationally and make quality education accessible for our students. That's why.
All right. Amazing. I heard different organizations like that of the UN organizations and agencies and others are flocking to actually give you this kind of accolades for the work that you've done. And do you think you contributed that much to be recognized in that scale? Tell me about those organizations and what is the intention behind? Because, I mean, sometimes it could be a hindrance for organizations like yourself engaged in these important things. But while you are at the very early stage, if you get this kind of recognitions, I believe it can be mostly a hindrance than a driving factor. What do you think about this? And tell me about those things.
We have received so many recognitions, both nationally and internationally, including organizations like UNESCO, because the problem that we have tackled, especially education, is a very important thing for a nation and also for the world. And especially with the current time of age, everything is being digitalized. Our payments are digitalized. The way we live have been digitalized. Everything is on our phone. But when it comes to education, we're a little bit hesitant. Most of our educations and trainings have not really been converted to a digital solution. And so many organizations, both nationally, there is a Ministry of Education has actually ratified a policy called from 2023 to 2028. It's making edtech and digital solutions scaled in Ethiopia. The recent Digital Ethiopia 2030 policy that was inaugurated by our Prime Minister, Dr. Abiy, also puts education at one of the core things that we want to have as a nation digitalized by 2030. And we are all working towards this. The government has accepted it with policies and laws. International organizations and development partners are working all to solve one thing: making quality education accessible. And one of the tools is digital, because the distribution cost is low. One best teacher in Addis would be able to reach 10,000 students, 50,000 students. So this really makes edtech and digital solutions a primary core for many organizations to be interested to work on it.
How's your reach?
We have been able to reach more than 250,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. That's just the subscribers. We have another 250,000 students that are not subscribed and learning. So totally we have about 500,000 students on our YouTube. In our mobile application, we have more than 120,000 students using our platforms. These are students all over the country, in Addis, in war-torn regions, in small towns, in rural areas. Even we receive feedbacks from students telling us that we're not just a tutorial for them, we are like a school for them, because one of the primary ways that they are getting quality education is through our platforms and our best teachers. I actually want to give credit to most of our teachers. Our teachers are fantastic. They are well educated, well trained. They're not only teaching, they're mentoring and making students fall in love with learning, because the way that they teach, the way that they explain is really engaging and interactive, and students really love. I'm sure when you learned in your high school or elementary, sometimes we say, I love this subject because of my teacher. That's what we're trying to do with Globedock Academy. We're trying to make students fall in love with learning because of the way that we are teaching them. So, yeah.
Let's come back to the idea of education in Ethiopia. And some of the things that frustrates me, that makes me unhappy, is it's not unhappy in the sense of like trying to leave everything out and being pessimist about the whole thing. But some of the lectures that I get, for example, from universities from the US, or it could be UK or other countries, Australia, Canada, or something like that. And I try to understand the subjects and analyze what is happening in that way, in that regard. And I try to compare it to what is happening in Ethiopia and where we are trying to reach. And it makes me, I don't know, like pessimistic about the whole thing. So do you ever believe that in your age, you have this academy, you have vision, you can reach somewhere that can make you satisfied about the whole thing? I mean, there is this thing that you're trying to do. There is an impact that you're trying to register, and you're impacting lives. I'm not expecting that the whole thing to be big at once and for everybody to bless you with whatever they have because you're doing this. But what I'm saying is the other world is far away from us in terms of understanding, knowledge, and wisdom, everything. I sometimes feel like, how can we get there? Do you feel the same?
I sometimes feel the same, but I really believe that we can reach there because, for example, for us, we plan to reach 1 million students, 1 million active learning students by 2030 on our platform. And when I say this, it's not just a number, but the research that we're doing and with AI, I believe that AI is the great equalizer because with just a small team of around 50 staff in our office, we are able to reach all of these hundreds of thousands of students. And this is all attributed to AI. AI gives you, basically AI gives you wings because it cuts cost, makes things quality, and it really helps you scale. And because of AI, I believe the world is going to be different in 5 to 10 years. And our students, our youth, our people, our parents, students' parents should believe that the world is changing and we should make our students be able to use it and innovate on it, not just use it for fun and games and play around with it, but we should be able to understand science on it. We should create a use which would be able to innovate on it. So I believe we will be able to reach this world-class countries because of AI, and we should leverage on it.
The AI thing is amazing, but I'm a bit hesitant about that aspect of it. It's great. It's a great equalizer, as you've rightly mentioned, but the people that I'm not trying to be again pessimistic about this thing, but AI, there is a language thing. English or other languages that are developed languages are most favored in terms of actually having the content that is big or having the content that is rich. But we haven't worked on that area still, I believe. So the people that you're trying to reach are in the countryside, and there is barrier of languages, including English and other international languages. So isn't that something, to be pessimistic about? I just want you to give me this hope, and I just want to be that person who can back you up with whatever you're doing and cheer and clap for you every time you do something. But if we are not realistic about what we're doing, it's just going to be in vain. So give me that hope.
So when we talk about the sector I'm in, which is education, one of the biggest things that AI will be enabling in the coming years is the biggest problem that the education sector is having, which is our school system is built upon a one-size-fits-all approach.
All right.
A one-size-fits-all approach means one teacher stands in front of a classroom and teaches 40 to 50 students that are completely different, that have completely different understanding level, they are completely different students, But AI would be able to know each student. Teachers wouldn't be able to analyze each and every need of all those students in a classroom and be able to teach them. So because of that, we have built this system of one size fits all. That's just a teacher will teach, right? But AI is going to be teaching each student based on their need. The AI will know, what they don't know, what misconception they have, what errors they've made on their assessments. Because of this, AI will create lessons for each one of them. This is the great equalizer. The best teacher in the US and the best teacher in Addis Ababa or in the rural part of Ethiopia is going to be the same AI. And when it comes to that, we have been able to make a very quality education accessible throughout the world. And I believe this would happen very soon. You can also see the healthcare, we will be able to have the best doctors on our hand. the best in all sectors on our hand, on our smartphone. So the world is going to be really changing very soon. So we have to prepare ourselves for that.
Amazing. Are you telling me these people will understand? The AI will come and teach these kids in their languages?
Very soon, because I know there is some gaps in training our local AIs with our own language, but that is changing. There are so many models now being trained with the Ethiopian language, with the Ethiopian context. So language localization and being translated is going to be it's a very big thing that's going to happen. And there are so many startups working on this actually. And you actually had one guest here, Kudus from Hasab AI, a couple of weeks here. So there are so many great startups working on localization and making our local language, our AI models being trained on local language. So yeah, I don't think we need to be worried on that.
Amazing. Okay, let's talk about Kirubel, the person. Tell me about your upbringing. What made you think that I am a person of computers, but I'll be engaging myself and I'll be investing my time in understanding and solving the problem of education? How did you grow up? And tell me about the whole process and the forces that drove you to think about education than other things.
I think my journey for entrepreneurship started when I was grade 12, I guess. I saw my uncle working very hard. I spent a summer at his home, and I saw him coming home at midnight. My father never came at midnight at home. He always was home at 5 or 5:30. So when I saw him coming at midnight, very tired from his work, I asked myself, can someone really work this hard? Can someone really stay at the office until that time and really develop something? And that really changed my mind and showed me a whole new potential on how hard work and working towards something really dedicatively can really change things. So I think that's one of the things that really showed me how I could survive in this very tough, very competitive entrepreneurship world. But besides that, the school I've learned was really good. And especially the books that I've read really showed me on how we could, being in a country like Ethiopia, but creating great startups is also possible. So that's something that really have built me.
Tell me about your parents. Were they from education background?
Yeah, so my father was a doctor. He was a nutritionist, actually. He learned in Sweden, and he worked in the government, for the government. He was a government official for many years and also worked for many international organizations. So his hard work is actually one of the things that I learned a lot from. He is sadly not alive now. Let his soul rest in peace.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, but we have so many things to learn from our parents. And I always ask myself, our parents paid all this sacrifice for us to stand today, and we can't really spend our time or waste our time or not really contribute for our world and our society and just spend or use. We need to be able to give back. Our population, I think, about 70% is used, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's expected from us if we really work hard. I know there's a lot of problems, but still throughout all these problems, we need to be able to shine. We need to be able to be exemplary. And I feel like I always have responsibility to make my parents, especially my father, proud.
Amazing. I just want to understand the journey of an Ethiopian entrepreneur, especially a young entrepreneur. And I just want to have the understanding of the challenges that an entrepreneur in Ethiopia faces, and what opportunities are you thinking in the future when you engage in such areas?
Challenge or opportunity?
Both challenges and opportunities.
I don't think I can list and finish the challenge because starting from the society, working hard and creating business, There's problem in the revenue office. There is sometimes a problem with your human resource. There is sometimes a problem on your technology. So especially being an entrepreneur in a developing country, I don't think it's really easy, but there's a huge potential, because almost everything is untapped. For example, when it comes to our industry of making digital contents and making education available on the internet, when we started 3 years ago, we were one of the first industry founders. We were basically the first ones to start an edtech like this in Ethiopia. So when it comes to almost all sectors, you're the first if you really want to become innovative. Have you read the book Blue Ocean Strategy?
I heard about it.
You have heard about it.
Yeah.
Blue Ocean Strategy is about creating your own oceans, your own water. So the book explains about there is a red ocean and then there is a blue ocean. And most companies and most entrepreneurs are fighting for the red oceans, which is very small. But you can create your own blue oceans. So there's a lot of problem in our country. In our continent, I can say in Africa. And there's a lot we can do. These problems are opportunities for us to work on. Of course, it's not going to be a very easy road, but it's something to start on and build on, because the impact, for example, in our edtech, the impact that we have been able to make on our students is incredible, because there are students, for example, in Warrenton region, which tells us, I passed this grade because of you. Last year, my biology result was 85, but this year it's 97 because of your teachers. So when you hear this kind of stories, and also the revenue that we get, it's not something that you can just pass on. With all these problems, we should embark on these opportunities and reach success.
Amazing. You're 28?
I'm 29 now.
You're 29. From a very great family, and opportunities being presented to you every now and then. Now facing the challenge that are big in terms of the challenge that we think in Ethiopia. And I heard at the same time, you spend times outside your house, outside your comfort, sleeping in a car. Was that even necessary?
I wish this was a story that me and you had over a coffee, but I'll get into it. So when I was 21, our home's curfew was 9 p.m.
All right.
But I was learning computer science at Addis Ababa University. At the same time, I started a startup. And that startup needed me to work until midnight, And my father was not having that. My father told me either come at 9 p.m. or
don't come at all.
Please don't come at all. So he was trying to protect me, as a normal Ethiopian family, which this kind of things are not common, If at 21, if you stay until midnight, you're probably doing something else or doing clubbing or something else, right?
Absolutely.
So I had to basically live in my car for 10 days.
Wow.
I work until midnight. I go into a condominium to find the darkness to park my car.
All right.
Then I sleep throughout the night. And in the morning, I go home, take a shower, and then go back to school again. So after the 10th day, he and I came to an agreement and agreed that I can come back home and sleep again. So yeah, this was I would say it's a great journey. It was a tough time, but this kind of stories really makes you remember the hard work that you've paid to reach where you are today, and where you'll reach tomorrow.
Great. I understand you have employees, around 40 or 50 employees in your office, and you have this impact, a huge one. I just want to understand the financial background or the financial understanding of the business world that you had. What was it like at 21 to understand the finance, the business aspect of it, and actually make money to pay the rent, make money to pay the salaries of your employees? How was it like?
Yeah. Actually, at 21, I was the only person at the office.
Okay.
We came to reach about 50 employees now after 6 or 7 years in the business. It was very difficult, especially, there was COVID time around, there was 1 year gap there. The economy was not really good. And then there was the war. All these problems existed, but still there were a ton of opportunities for us to capitalize on. And we're actually able to reach this much amount of employees because we're able to generate a good amount of revenue for ourselves. And and we have actually, I don't think I've mentioned this before for you, we have actually scaled to UAE. We also have a branch in UAE to do our international businesses. We have different international contracts with universities that we do different engagements and works for them, contractual works. And our UAE company actually generates also a good amount of revenue.
Amazing. I heard you mention some university from the US that you are partnering with. Tell me about the partnerships that you have and that journey.
Okay. So Globedock Academy's journey mostly has been amazing, and students really love it. As I told you, we receive tons of testimonials and comments for our students, but we have not really gathered this comments and testimonials into an evidence, scientific evidence that our product works. So to really show the government, to really show investors that our solution is on the ground, working and effective, helping students get from X grade to Y grade at a very low cost. We partnered with a university called Carnegie Mellon University, and Carnegie Mellon University Learning Science for Innovators Department. This partnership was actually facilitated by MasterCard Foundation's EdTech Fellowship Program. We are part of this EdTech Fellowship Program, which supports edtechs like us with fundings and research and partnerships. And we're working with Carnegie Mellon University now to generate evidence that our solution works on the ground. So this kind of evidences really help governments and investors to accept your product and really scale it nationally, or sometimes even at a continent level. So our goal, our mission with this research and partnership with Carnegie Mellon University is to do an effectiveness study of how our solution helped 600 students to get from X grade to Y grade. So we have selected 600 students across the country, and we're going to be doing this research on these students and going to be showing on that research that our solution was effective to get their grades from X to Y. And that research will help us get more investments, get more government acceptance to scale nationally or even at a continent level. So that's the goal of this research partnership.
Okay. How do you hire people? What are the measurements that you see? I'm asking this question because are we still asking for certificates like a degree paper, a master's paper, or whatever certificate, the diplomas, or are you on grades and other things?
For most roles at this time and age, I think these certificates are fading off. For most roles, but for example, when it comes to our teachers, certificate is mandatory.
Right.
You need to be able to be a subject matter expert. You need to be able to be trained pedagogy well. So if you don't have this kind of credentials, you can't really be working at an education company like us, because we won't be also be getting acceptance from the government and other accreditation agencies. Since we need to be accredited, we also need accreditation from our teachers. So our teachers are highly accomplished people. For example, our teachers who teach biology are medical doctors. Our teachers which teach other subjects are from university level, doctors with PhD holders and all. So we need those certificates for our teaching roles. But when it comes to IT and other roles, I think certificates are a second priority right now, because the most important thing is skill. If you have the right skills, you would be able to get hired very easily. Getting hired at our company is not actually an easy job. Every time we have a job post, more than 150 people apply for us just to hire one person. So we usually get the best person from 100 or 150 people. So it's a little bit competitive, and in that competition, you need to be able to show good skill and credibility for you to get hired.
All right. You've been focusing on AI, and I see that you have a big trust in the technology part of it. And if you are that dependent on the thinking that AI would solve many of the problems that we are facing in education, is it possible to imagine that perfecting the AI only without actually thinking about the teachers, the physical teachers and others, and letting it to actually attain to the needs of the kids without maybe with a minimal assistance from the human person, the physical person? Do you think that is a possibility anytime soon?
Technology has showed us multiple times to never say never.
All right.
Because where we are right now in 2026 is just the beginning. Imagine having a Nokia on our hands right now.
All right.
Imagine where we will be in 10 years, 15 years. It's sometimes even unimaginable. I don't think we would have a smartphone or a touch screen 20 years ago, right? When we used to have those flip phones with the antennas. So things are going to grow exponentially. Things are going to change not on a linear basis, but exponentially. So when things change exponentially, we don't know what's going to happen. Of course, teachers are going to be at the core of the teaching and learning system, but AI might do a better job from some or most teachers. So when it comes to this kind of efficacy, we might choose to use these tools. So I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to economy, right? So how much does this thing would cost me, and how much does this thing cost me? And to get the better quality. And when it comes to that, I think AI in the education space would be one of the biggest things that AI will do for our economy and for our students.
Okay. At what stage do you think you'll be satisfied about the education of the country, Ethiopia?
I would be satisfied from Globedock Academy and retire after we have been able to build an adaptive learning platform. An adaptive learning platform is a platform which is a teacher for each student. So all students would be able to learn at their own pace. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. I believe when the day comes that we break the one-size-fits-all approach, that all students would be able to learn at their own pace, at their own interest, at their own path. That day, I believe that education in our country would be very successful, because students are different. You know, when I was in high school, I always used to be depressed because I always study hard. But I always used to get really bad grades. And that problem is mostly because the way I was studying, the way I was being taught, the way that I was being tutored. I was not being tutored in the way that I wanted, you know? And because of that, AI would be able to know each student and tailor the education for each one of them based on their path. And that they would, I believe, it's going to be a huge success.
Kirubel,
This
has been an amazing conversation, and welcome. And I hope to see you someday again to talk about the thriving education system and AI having the impact that you wish it has, or bringing the impact that we want it to bring to the education system in Ethiopia.
Yeah, I'm sure we will reach soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Abraham.
All right.